Welcome to my terribly introduced Deneb Daily Grind series. I think it's episode 3. It's no longer measured in days anymore. I don't really care anymore. It's just measured in, I'm gonna have a blog post today in a friggin' game. You know, why not, right? Ooh, gotta bring that with me. Ooh, buckets. Speed might be of use. Ooh, science. Ooh, food. Yes. I don't know. I don't need to bring enchanted stuff with me. However, today I'm going to talk to you guys about, or begin at least a two-part thread on science fiction, while exploring randomly, which I think is fitting because that's my general perspective on good science fiction is optimistic, sort of forward-looking, exploratory kind of content. Something that's rare now in science fiction, in other genres. Yeah, and it's rare today, and it might be one of the reasons why it's just getting so stressful, I guess. But yeah, so you know, none of this is pre-scripted. I do not know what I'm going to say. I've just taken about 3 words of notes for this topic and for tomorrow's version of the same. And if it extends beyond that, well, it's your own damn fault. Can't blame me. Let me move this slightly. How's that? Yes, no? On that note, this tower no longer pleases me at all. So I think I'm probably going to tear it down and put another tower up in its place. But before I do that, I really have to decide on a theme. And the final theme will probably have similarities to this. I just do not know yet what they will be. So let's head on down. So, science fiction. I think maybe I'll start with listing some things I particularly liked in the genre. There we go. I can do this. Very cool. I haven't been able to do this in a while. Let's see what I've got here. I brought some supplies with me. Apparently wood was not one of them. I might be wise to make, or have the capacity to make, a light source while I'm out on this trek. Oh, wait. There's a couple. I do not need lilacs. It appears I am going to need some trees. Now, I think I need to strike out west. And that is... No. What am I saying? East. I need to strike out eastward. Because I've explored somewhat down the southern edge, or the eastern edge, in a southerly direction of my empire, and I have sort of neglected heading the other way. So I'm going to do that a little bit today and tomorrow, and force you guys to like it. First, we got to get up there. So, yeah, I grew up on science fiction. I mean, Saturday afternoons, waiting for dinner. There would be the Happy Trees guy, the artist, and then immediately after him would be Doctor Who, and for us that was the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. And what they say is, you never forget your first Doctor. They're not kidding. No one has ever really compared since. I gotta eat already. This is not going well. So I mean, it's not super science fiction, but it was good, and probably should take some of these guys with me. Come back here. Oh my god. Mountain cows. Mountain coos. But of course we grew up on the Star Trek. In fact, we were even recording old original series and TNG stuff as it was airing on VHS. And those tapes may actually still exist somewhere in my parents' closets. Nowadays, it's largely unnecessary because there's a whole industry of private videos, or home video, that really didn't exist strongly back then. I mean, there was a little bit, but not to any useful degree. So we were, of course, recording all of our own right off the TV, and my dad would be, he missed it once or twice, but for the most part, he'd be right on the dot to cut out the commercials, to hit pause before the commercials cut in, and guesstimate when the commercials would cut back, and the show would start again. Good times, but yeah, we grew up on that stuff. And the original and the TNG series of Star Trek were very optimistic, forward, progressive. You could almost call them lefty kind of shows, and that's probably one of the reasons why there's such a rivalry between them or the people who prefer Star Wars and seem to be more cowboy-ish, sort of aggressive, competitive types. And here Star Trek is being the opposite, sort of, not that there isn't conflict and stuff, but, hopeful and optimistic and cooperative, and people can be better this rather than just shooting each other and stuff. And so it sort of reflects the political environment as it stands. The people, the conservative folk, self-described, if not in action, conservative folk on the right wing, sort of perceive the left as somebody that needs to be destroyed. They're an enemy. Whereas the people on the left look at the right-wing people as more or less people who need help and understanding and compromise. And so, of course, it's a very one-sided process. Calix now joins the game. And it's kind of that way between the fandoms of Star Wars and Star Trek, which is a little strange. Taiga. I should probably be careful about my coordinates, or else this far north, I may actually end up in Oplex territory. So I should bear south somewhat. Just like east by southeast or something. Not that I need any of that right now. You notice I brought supplies with me for the potential laying of portals. Yeah, but I mean, I like Star Wars. Okay, it was just it never had the same depth of character that Trek did. That said, I believe Star Wars 1 was the first movie I ever saw, and which meant I had to be very, inconceivably young. Inconceivable! I don't think that word means what you think it means. But, I was like an infant at the time, so I wouldn't remember it. But it was the first movie I ever saw. And, I don't know. But, yeah. Oh, wasn't I... Hello. Wasn't I thinking about wood earlier? Let me get some. Oh, that was... Well, I didn't need much anyways. Does that wood look different? Anyways. These are influences. And it's also part of the reason why I'm sort of upset with the new Treks. Because while there's certain things about them that are clever, they're not optimistic anymore. They're very aggressive, and that violence is the solution, and it's holy. It's turned its back on what Trek meant, and of course also has replete with horribly bad science. And I'm not even talking about was it red matter? That is obviously fictional, so that's actually easier to accept than things like piercing through the atmosphere of Titan as if it were like a blanket, rather than this haze that extends for hundreds of miles in a very, very gradient. They could got so many really stupidly easy things wrong, and it really threw me off. But that's more complaining rather than talking about science fiction, isn't it? So, sorry, I had to do it. Look at all these mountains. Let me turn south. Ooh, a river. Nice little river valley. A cave. So that's probably Extreme Hills Plus over there, because it's greener with trees, whereas this is the new Extreme Hills. So, I've had a lot of sci-fi influences over the years. I've read a lot of books. Orson Scott Card, who people right now are boycotting as if, I guess because he's not comfortable with gay folk or something, and that's unfortunate for him, but he doesn't seem to have been particularly overt about it. It certainly wasn't in his books, so I just sort of shake my head at him on that aspect, but enjoy his books. I can be more of a grown-up about it than perhaps he is. I don't know. I'm largely taking that particular topic secondhand, so I could be wrong. Regardless, the Ender's Game, which I just saw the movie of a couple nights ago, very good movie, very rushed. You could tell it had come from not just one but two novels and was compacted into a single movie, which didn't, it did it some injustice, but other than that, they did a good job. And they didn't gloss over one of the primary points of the novel. It didn't really get acknowledged until the end, but then again, I don't think it really got acknowledged until the end in the books either. So it's just as, it worked out. It was a good movie. And the books were good, and guys at work who talk about this complain as if the Xenocide books and the ones that involve Ender having left Earth dealing with the piggies, I think. Sorry, it has been many years. They are looking down on those as not being up to Ender's Game, and maybe that's true. But I valued them for their own content, so I actually enjoyed those as well. I think Caffeine was saying something about needing sand, and I don't have a shovel on me. Well, that's no good. Oh, you know what? I need to make myself a thingy. To be super specific, do I need any further wood? Not really, I don't think. No, I need to make something else. Whoa, you come back here. Yeah, let's make a pick out of coal. That'll work. Whoop. Boink. All right, that's better. However, I now have more of those than I need. Let me make one of these. Could have sworn I brought one with me. Oh, well. Cat, what are you doing? So, yeah. Now, the books were good. I liked Greg Bear quite a bit. Darwin's Radio was very good, though it wasn't space-based. The Eon series, I think. I can't remember if that's the official name. Those are good. Larry Niven stuff is okay. I wasn't as thrilled with this stuff. But it's okay. Some people were swear by it. I read all the Dragon Riders of Pern stuff, but it didn't really strike me as super science fiction. It's more like fantasy set in a sci-fi universe. And I don't remember much from it, which tells you what I gathered from it. But maybe I should... the big influences on me were actually games. And among those, primary among those was a 1986 title called Starflight. Very, very good game, and it had everything to do with my desire to make games. My as yet unfulfilled desire. And I'm getting on in years, so I should be... Ooh. Am I laggy? No experience for me? Okay. Sad. Oh, so... Yeah, there's that. Cat, seriously, stop. That was naughty. That was really naughty. You leave. Out. Out. He was chewing on a Christmas gift. Little bastard. Whoa. Now he's getting me killed away from home. Stay away. Alright, sorry about that. Starflight. I still have Starflight moments in my life. Typically, when I'm outdoors, like in the winter, and it's like a blustery, windy, almost blizzardy, I go straight back to the Starflight mode. In part because so many of the worlds were described as icy, and they had hills and plains of tinted snow and ice. Ooh, geez, another roofed forest. Really? So many roofed forests in my territory. This is not fair. Not fair at all. However, there is one convenience that comes with these forests, and that is being able to walk across the top of them. You have to do a lot of this jumping business. But still, yeah, it was a simple game. If you knew how, you could win the game in like 30 minutes. And luckily, like most good games, goodbye moon. The game didn't end just because you'd won. I prefer games that are open-ended, or at least allow you to goof off in the world. And so, and way back when, I also didn't have a code wheel for the game, which was their version of DRM. Oh, that's not right. Come on. East. Oh, let's bend this way then. Whoa! Nice shot. Oh! I forgot, this isn't the old sword. Doesn't have smite on it. Come on, give! You bastards. Oh! I see you. Seem to have run out of roof forest. I like the muffled sound of rain in particular. That's one of the nicest sounds in the world. Okay. But, you could... And largely, because of that, you could still play the game, but if you failed to put in the correct code, interstellar police would start following you around and cornering you and attacking you if you didn't give a correct code to them instead. So you had basically two chances. And, of course, that was impossible. And I had this friend who had a code wheel, and he got so exasperated with me, always calling up, what's the code for Eloan, Arth, Grey Doodad, whatever? It's this combination of stuff. Oh, that worked out really well. Oh, he gave me a potion, and I can't pick up. What don't I need? I don't need this. Potion of healing. Very good. I've lost my sense of direction already. So, but being forced, in order to avoid the interstellar police, one often had to strike out at random, prepare to defend themselves along the way, but essentially strike out at random and find a world that they hadn't been to before, land, and accept the fact that they might never be able to leave again. I had to do this so many times. And so it really made you explore these worlds, and especially if it had life on it, you could study individual life forms, and they'd all be... Every world would have sort of a randomly generated rule set, like all the creatures will be radial or amorphous, and they'll have 3 eyes and an acid sac and stuff, but then the individual descriptions would vary, so you had the impression of having encountered thousands of species per planet. And this all fit on a single 3.5-inch disc. At the time it was on 5.25 inches, and it took 2 of those, but it moved on shortly thereafter. But it was an explorer's kind of game, and we have had so very few games since that really can give you that same kind of sensation. So it was a huge influence on me, and I really like to make that game again. I think it is public domain now, so I think it could be done. Legally done. But it's one of those things I have to find the time for, and playing these games certainly is taking some of that time away. To be fair, oh well, I've been on for 20 minutes. I should let you guys go. But, there were a few other titles I'd like to mention, like Master of Orion was a big influence. The original XCOM game was a huge influence. The new game has done a pretty good job of honoring the old one. Not perfect, but a pretty good job. But I can still remember the first time I ever landed my Sky Ranger, or whatever it was called, outside a farm, and I went into this field of corn or wheat, and a gray alien, a sectoid, appeared. And that was just like a moment. It's etched. My first sectoid. You know, no doubt it killed like half of my crew by itself because, you know, I was a newbie at the time. But all these things that... Yeah, next time, tomorrow, I'll get into sort of why I think science fiction is valuable, as opposed to just listing examples. So please tune in tomorrow for day 4 of the Deneb Daily Grind, and have a good night, damn it.